the sound's coming in all right. Yo, what's good? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're in the world. Welcome, freedom marchers, and those individuals who have yet to join the march. You know what I'm saying? Still time to hop on board. Although, of course, this channel here is highly suppressed, but it is what it is. We gonna keep it pushing. Y'all, let me know if the sound's okay. Sounds coming through clear. Before I get jumping on this, I'm not gonna do a long, drawn out live stream on this, man. I just want to make correction because yesterday I went on a rant, rightly so, about how no gun laws would have prevented this tragic situation in Uvalde if it happened. And then there are things that I've learned about this situation that makes it even more suspicious to me, in regards to whether it happened or not. Because, I mean, listen, there's some funky shit going on with the way things were reported. Things were taken back and changed and shit. And I want to give a shout out to Queen's Throne because she actually, brought my attention to this particular article. And what? I had known. Now, I thought that this was a gun-free zone. Okay, this Robb Elementary. I thought it was a gun-free zone. Essentially, it is, but um, not for teachers and certain staff that are trained to deal with certain situations. And so, I wanted to issue that correction because, you know, in Texas, they passed a law where you're allowed, where the school is allowed to designate as many teachers as they want with the capability of having a firearm on campus. Now, what I could not find out is if any of these Robb Elementary School teachers actually were carrying that day or even implemented the law, implemented the capability. I have no idea because I can't find it. And as I'm going through and trying to find out and do the research, I'm seeing that they're not telling people what type of security they had, what security protocol they had. They're not giving that information away right now, so I have no idea. But it looks like, and I knew this back in 2019 because I actually applauded this. The volume is low. Seven. Let me try this. Can you hear me now? Wait, what's going on here? Hold on. Hello? Yo, yo. Yo, 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 yo. What is going on? Huh. What is going on here? Mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. I have no idea. It's working this. Yo, yo, yo. What the hell? Damn it. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Yo, yo, yo. Oh, man. Can you hear me? I don't know what the hell is going on.
Mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2. That should be better. My bad. Look, this is gonna be a real quick live. I'm getting ready to do my workout, so I just wanted to come on here and issue this correction. Uh, and I don't know if you heard what I said in the beginning, but yesterday during my rant in the vehicle, in my truck, I mentioned how this was a gun-free zone. Apparently, it's not a gun-free zone. And shout out to Queen's Throne for bringing my attention back to this, because I knew in 2019 that they had actually passed a law where teachers can carry on campus, because there had been another situation in 2018 that, you know, in a high school where 10 people perished. And so they came up with this law. The state law provides approved new laws in 2019 to arm teachers, lock down schools, and train for threats. Uvalde Consolidated Independent School District, located in predominantly Latino community between San Antonio and the southern border, had a robust security protocol that counted social media threat monitoring software and small campus police force among its defenses by the time of Tuesday's nightmare. But it does not say. It says that they had this threat assessment, social media thing, a small campus police force among its defenses, but it doesn't mention anything about teachers owning a firearm or being able to carry on campus. It doesn't say that. Although the law allows it, it doesn't say that the teachers actually were carrying in this particular school when this incident happened. Yet the school safety researcher and advocate for superintendent said calls to flood schools with added security distract from the problem of preventing easy access to firearms. Would it? Okay, so it looks like some individuals, some so-called safety researcher, said that it distracts from it. But the thing is, we don't need more gun control. So there is no reason. The fact that it distracts from it, okay. We don't need more gun control. Now, anybody who shoots somebody else is a mental health problem. And that's what, and that's another thing that this law allowed for, is for more research and more mental health intervention. And Governor Abbott says anyone who shoots somebody else has a mental health challenge. Now, let's be clear. Anybody who shoots someone else in cold blood and unprovoked, it's not just about mental health. They're just an evil person, right? That's an evil individual. That's that's a bad person. Someone who would go and shoot somebody unprovoked is just a bad person. This mental health stuff, we got to call it what it is. They are evil. You understand? 18, 19, 17. There's something going on. Yes, there might be some screws loose in their head, but many people who kill pass psych exams. Let's be clear. This shit is subjective, right? Psych exams and all that shit, psychology, all this shit is subjective based on basically, anecdotal evidence, which and there's some scientific evidence in regards to, let's say, chemical imbalance. Now, when that's clear, when you have a chemical imbalance in your brain that affects you, that is absolutely 100% clear. But when it comes to people who are raised in a certain environment and they go through certain things in their life, it's just things that happen to them that make them want to lash out. It doesn't mean that they have a chemical imbalance. It just means that they don't deal with the issues properly, and so, or they're just evil. This is an evil dude. People who kill kids, they're evil. Let's just call a spade a spade. But doesn't say, even though, okay, so from initially they were saying that some safety officers on campus confronted the shooter before he got to the classroom where he killed so many people in just one concentrated area, but they didn't engage him, meaning they didn't fire on him or anything like that. Okay. And my question would be, why? If you had him dead to rights, you confronted him. and you saw him with a rifle on your campus, on school grounds, to me that's, hey, you are ripe to be laid out, point blank and period. It should have been dealt with right then and there. But now they're taking that back. They're saying that he didn't encounter anybody when he got on campus. But my question would be, how did he get on campus? Because this is what happened. He crashed the vehicle. They're saying that he wasn't being chased. That he wasn't being chased by law enforcement. They're changing a lot of shit. So if he wasn't being chased by law enforcement, why did he have to crash by the school? Why did he crash? Why couldn't he just park? Why did he crash in the culvert? And then he hopped the fence and started shooting at the building on the way to the building. So if there were safety officers there, if there was this small police force there, and he's firing on the building as he is going toward the building, how was he able to get inside the back door, which was unlocked? Now, the safety protocol calls for all doors to be locked during sessions, and for the classroom doors to be locked. So how did he get into the back door? How did he get to this classroom unimpeded when he's firing on the building as he's approaching it? These are questions that I have, okay? Now, again, I correct myself. This is not a gun-free zone. The teachers are allowed to have firearms, and then there's also an allowance for small security teams.
Evil swept across Uvalde.
Evil. He's right. Evil swept across, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, it allows for added security. It allows for teachers to be armed. And for this researcher to say that it distracts from preventing access to firearms, like, easy access to firearms has nothing to do with some crime that someone's going to commit. Because they're going to commit the crime whether there's easy access to firearms or not. See, what they want is, they don't want easy access to firearms by law or by good people, right? Because criminals are going to have easy access to firearms no matter what, whether they get it on the street, whether, you know what I'm saying, whether they get it through a straw purchase, whatever. They're going to get their hands on firearms if they want those firearms. Even in somewhere like London, right? Though they got gangs in London that have firearms. Let's not get it twisted. They just don't use them as much because, you know, it is what it is. But they don't want easy access to firearms by regular people. Okay, and so they use these incidents to say, look, this individual look how easily he got this firearm. Look how he got 375 rounds of ammo and 2 firearms. Oh, that shouldn't be possible. But why not? He's a grown-ass man. Nothing should prevent him from, listen, nothing should have prevented Ramos from getting those firearms before he committed the crime. But that's what they want. They don't want you to be able to get the firearms. And it's not to prevent you from committing a crime like this. It's to prevent you from being able to stand up against a tyrannical government. Point blank and period. Nothing should have prevented Ramos, because I don't know if he had any priors or anything like that. Nothing should prevent anyone, an adult or child that an adult buys their firearm for their kid. You know, they're talking about, if you have easy access to firearms, then your kids are going to have access to it. It's going to be much more easy for kids to have access to it. So what? If you're an adult and you have children and you train your children in the use of that firearm, and you don't have, and you're ensuring that you're raising good quality children, then why shouldn't they be able to have that firearm? Because a guy like this went off the hinges. This doesn't happen to every child. There are over 400 million firearms in this country, more firearms than there are kids and adults. If that were the case that having easy access to firearms makes it easier for children to commit crimes with it or to kill themselves or whatever, then there'd be a lot more suicides, there'd be a lot more accidental shootings, there'd be a lot more murders with firearms, not just 46,000 or whatever it is. 65% of which or 66% of which are suicide. There'd be way more, right? There'd be way more than that. If it was this, if If just having the firearm creates violence, then there'll be way more violence by the use of firearms than there are. But there aren't because people are responsible for the most part. Holes popping up. How do you afford the heat, and why didn't the cops enter sooner? Let Brandon Tatum tell it because they were shooting. He was shooting at the approaching officers who didn't have armor, who didn't have shields and all the other shit, and they had to wait for SWAT. That's what he said. Now I'm not going to argue about that, right? Because that kind of makes sense. If you're getting fired upon by a rifle and you only have pistols and you're at a distance and they shooting out the window or whatever the case may be, or shooting through the door or whatever, then you want to have a little more protection. But my thing is, if officers encountered that kid before he got in that classroom but didn't engage, that's where the problem comes in. Now, what happens after that? Apparently the officers had to evacuate students and teachers and whatever the case may be. So I'm not going to really put it all off on the officers, but what I'm going to say is he shouldn't have been able to get to the building after firing upon it before he entered the building, right? There should be, if they had a small police force, where are they at? Why is no one in the back of the school? Why is no one patrolling the perimeter? Fits. You know what I'm saying? These are things that should be done because people are going to hop fences. They're not going to just go through the gate. People are going to hop fences. They're going to try to get access some other way. So it's just a breach of security. It's a lack of security, or the security failed. That's just what it is. They're saying he got in the back door, didn't encounter anybody until he got in the classroom. So that's what they're saying. After they said, yo, 2 officers confronted him but didn't engage. They took that back. Now they're saying no one was there. So to me, it's all bullshit, right? There's a lot of holes. There's a lot of things that don't make sense. And I'm not just going to trust the mainstream media narrative. And I'm not going to trust the police. I'm not going to trust Governor Abbott. I'm not going to trust any of these people because that's just not how I'm built. Shit don't make sense. But anyway, I'm going to get out of here. I got to get to working out. The cops were running in circles in the parking lot. Listen, man, these motherfuckers are crazy, right? I don't know what to say, right? What I do know is that teacher. They're not saying whether the teachers were armed at Robb Elementary. They're not saying whether that's the case because even if they're allowed to carry, doesn't mean that the teacher wants to carry. The teacher might not want to carry a firearm. So, this person saying there was one article that said the shooting in Texas shows that arming teachers don't work. Well, no, it doesn't show that because we don't know whether the teachers were armed or not. So what are you talking about? These people just throw shit out in the air. We don't know if this teacher in the classroom that got killed, we don't know if she was armed or not. We don't know that. At least I don't know that yet. So how could they say shit like that? Because that's how they roll. They want to prove something. And even if the teacher was armed, that still doesn't mean that it doesn't work. That just means that that teacher, in particular, wasn't prepared. The drop got put on them. But I know this: if I'm a teacher and I'm armed, as soon as I hear gunshots, I'm pulling out. I'm putting the kids in the corner, away from easy access by the door. When the guy comes in, and I'm gonna be ready to lay a motherfucker out. But apparently that didn't happen. See, now let me show y'all this, man. I gotta show y'all this. Texas shooting shows futility of arming teachers. If armed and trained professionals can't stop a gunman, how can a teacher be expected to? What? What? Because listen, the teacher can be a trained professional. The teacher, that's the point of the law, to train these teachers to deal with the situation, and they can be a trained professional. You train them. That's how you do it. So there's no separation between trained professionals and armed teachers. because the armed teacher is going to be a trained professional, right? So, but this is the thing. Hardcore opponents of gun control in the U.S. often respond to school shootings by proposing armed teachers and armed security guards to schools. Now, that's not always going to. It's not a catch-all, right? And if the armed guards aren't on their shit and they aren't, if they're lackadaisical, if they aren't alert, then that's the problem, right? But if you have alert security guards and alert teachers who are going to spring into action when they hear gunshots, then this could be prevented. And let's not forget, up to 2 million crimes are prevented each year by the use of firearms. So this just so happened, like they said, if the security is going to encounter an armed individual on the school campus and they're not going to engage with them, then that's the failure of those individual security guards, not of the actual law that allows them to be armed, or you know what I'm saying? Not the fact that they have the right to be armed on campus to protect the children. If they failed to protect those children out of their own bullshit cowardice or whatever the hell, or their idiocy, then that doesn't mean that every other motherfucking security guard in the world is going to fail at that too. You understand? But the inability of the police to stop the gunman, and that's another thing. Why didn't the police stop him before he killed? That doesn't. The failure of the police to stop him does not mean that the teachers being armed is going to fail. You see what I'm saying? This is a pure fallacy. Pure fallacy. If armed and trained professionals can't stop a gunman, how can a teacher be expected to? That's a fallacious question. The fallacious argument, right? Oh, armed cops couldn't stop him, therefore a teacher can't stop him. That doesn't. No, there's different variables and circumstances. There's nuance to this, but these people just want to make it all just absolute, and it is what it is. And this is the most important thing about this. This is what destroyed this whole article, and they shouldn't even have written this shit, right? They shouldn't have written this. This completely kills the whole argument. While all the details of the shooting are not yet clear, authorities' accounts revealed that the gunman was confronted by multiple armed officers, yet they were unable to stop him before he killed nearly 24 people. Details of the shooting are not yet clear. Authority accounts. If authority accounts reveal that the gunman was confronted by multiple armed officers, why are details not clear? The gunman reportedly crashed his truck in addition near the campus before entering the school, and police officers arrived at the school after the report of that crash. So how are they going to stop him? Okay, so let's say the officers were alerted after the crash. How are they going to stop him if it's going to take them a minute to get to where he is, right? If they arrive to the school after the crash, that means that the guy is already in the fucking building. So how was it they were going to stop them? According to CBS News, the Texas Department of Public Safety Lieutenant Christopher Oliveira account, the shooters stormed in the school in the small city of Uvalde shortly after crashing the car in the area and immediately engaged in fire with state troopers on the scene. The gunman shot several police officers and locked himself in the classroom. So, what are we saying here? Where were these troopers? If they're already on scene, then why was he able to get in the campus? But the details are unclear. You see what I'm saying? And then if you go, hold on. I need to open another tab. Let me if officers were there, if troopers, how they get in the building? If troopers are there, if troopers are there and he was able to shoot troopers before he got into the building? Now, looky here. On Wednesday, state officials initially said that the school district resource officer approached the gunman and engaged him, but no gunfire was exchanged before the shooter entered the two connected classrooms. Law enforcement officials abruptly reversed that account Thursday and said no police officer ever confronted the attacker when he jumped a fence surrounding the school, fired at the building, and entered the campus through what they said appeared to be an unlocked door. You see what it's saying here? Law enforcement officials abruptly reversed the account Thursday, saying no school police officer ever confronted the attacker when he jumped a fence and surrounded the school, fired in the building, and entered the campus through what they said appeared to be an unlocked door. He walked in undisturbed, undisrupted initially. Victor Escalon of the Texas Department of Public Safety said to reporters, adding that the gunman then fired at responding officers as they called for help. It took approximately 1 hour, Escalon said, before members of an elite Border Patrol SWAT team arrived to lead an effort. Now, they're saying, right, that he engaged and immediately engaged in gunfire with state troopers at the scene, on the scene. The gunman shot several police officers, then locked himself in a classroom. But here it says no gunfire was exchanged before officers entered. What? Which one is it? He walked in undisrupted. But here, he engaged with troopers? Where were the troopers? Were they on campus? Where were they? So, yeah, I'm calling bullshit on all this shit. Anyway. Much love, like, share, subscribe. I gotta get out of here. I gotta get this workout in, and I got other shit to do. But much love, like, share, subscribe, man. And yeah, this shit is crazy, man. I call bullshit on this whole thing. I'm not believing a word of it. I need to see. I don't even want to see bodies. What I want to see is the teachers. I'm not the teachers. I want to see the parents. I want to, you know what I'm saying? Once they identify the children, we I don't know, man. Shit is crazy. I'm not saying, look, false flags don't mean that the people didn't actually die, right? That means the way that they died and the narrative is made up. The actual true narrative, the true story of what actually occurred is made up. And they're blaming it on a lone gunman who went crazy and just decided to kill children, when it could have been something else to create an atmosphere where people are calling for rights to be taken away. False flag doesn't mean that people weren't killed. It just means that the way they were killed does not jive with reality, or the way they were killed in reality did not jive with the narrative. So that's it. Much love, you guys. I'll holler at y'all later. And yeah, let's keep marching forward toward freedom. Peace.